Welcome to the world of stand-up. All right, my friends, it's another episode of stand-up, and as you can see, I'm running solo today. This episode is somewhat of a special one in that it will be the last episode of 2022. It's been a phenomenal year, and I wanted to talk about some things today that have been on my mind, that have extremely important impact on the lives of men. And of course, because it affects men, it affects everybody else around men. So wives and girlfriends and women and children and the whole deal. And if you are watching this on the last week of 2022, thank you. And if you're watching this at another time, it's okay too, because this will be an evergreen message, meaning that it isn't time sensitive. You could watch it in August of 2027, and it will still hopefully have some sort of relevance for what your experience is. The backstory that I wanted to talk about is this last weekend. I'm recording this before Christmas, and last weekend, I found myself in Laguna Beach, California, Dana Point area, with a close friend of mine whose name is Keith Yackey and 20 other savages as a part of what is now known as the Ascend Brotherhood. And I'm going to get into what exactly that experience was, but I want to start out by saying that I see a problem a lot in the lives of men, and this problem is a big deal, and it's time we more openly talk about it. The problem that I see is that men don't have a place to go. When you look back in history and you see how tribes evolved and how civilization evolved, there was a role and a power that the tribe played in the development of good men. You had the tribal leaders that would teach the ways of life, that would pass on the traditions. There was rites of passage when it came to certain, ages as far as becoming a man. There were roles, everybody had a purpose, and you felt camaraderie, you felt competitiveness, and as a man, you had a place to go to feel valuable and important, and more importantly, a place to share the things that you needed to get off your chest in a way that there just wasn't another safe place to do it. There are certain challenges that your wife will never understand, and when you talk to her about it, it might not help because she isn't the right person to be confiding in those type of issues. You need your tribe. You need your brotherhood. And that rarely exists nowadays. Because of technology and the push for equality, the roles of men and the needs of men have been pushed down. They're dishonored in a way, and it becomes that men just got to kind of handle their own shit. And even though that's the way that it appears on the outside, that doesn't actually work for most men. If you look at the statistics of why men are killing themselves at a far higher percentage rate than that of women, it's because of this thing. If you look at the addiction rates of men when it comes to alcohol and drugs and how they turn to those ways of sedation, it's because of this issue where men don't have a place to go. And we need one. If you look at the problems within family dynamics, if you look at the problems within divorce, within infidelity, it's because men don't have a place to go. I thought for the longest time that was just how it is. That the challenges and the struggles that I felt as a man within my own life were for me just to deal with within the walls and silence of my own mind. And that's how I did it for most of my life. I can go back with certainty and I can say that every major mistake that I've made in my life, every major issue that I allowed to persist, every major thing that I created that caused trauma for me in my life came down because I didn't have the right type of brotherhood or support to go to my friends and my brothers and be like, dudes, this is what's up, help me, and feel safe about it. And I know that I'm not alone in this. If you're a man and you're watching this, I'm pretty sure this resonates pretty deeply with what your experience has been. you know the buck stops with you. And this isn't a knock against women or children or society. It's just what it is. When a woman has an issue, she can go to her friends and then she can take it to her husband or her whatever, and there's support there. When a guy has issues, he can't do the same thing. There is a lopsided dynamic energetically. And the reason why that has worked in past times is because men had tribal brotherhoods to be a part of. They had places to go, to vent, to grow, to compete, and then to come home full of life again, full of confidence, full of trust in themselves to handle the challenges they were facing. That doesn't happen nowadays. Even further, we're seeing things like the director of Avatar, James Cameron, talking about how testosterone is bad and needs to be weeded out. Everybody's turning into a cuck, a bunch of simps. And brother, I want you to know, you're not happy when you're simping. Simping ain't easy because it sucks being a simp. You're not meant to be a simp. You're meant to be powerful. You're meant to be kind and loving on your terms and to do the things that you need to protect, to provide, and to preside over your home. Not to be like, sure, sweetie, whatever you'd like, I'll give you whatever you need. Men that do that get walked all over, and not in a good way. And the women that do that turn masculine. Their energy shifts. They start treating their husband like children. That never works. You know it. Look around at our society. Every commercial that has a man in it's about a guy being an idiot and the wife having to collect on some sort of weird, dumb thing that he did as a husband. Men are viewed as silly. Men are viewed as weak. And as men, we get these messages and we just think that's how it is. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be. And ironically, it can't be that way. We need each other in a way like never before. And that's the point that I want to start talking about this last weekend for me. First of all, I want to give a shout out to one of my best friends and one of the best people that I've ever met in this life, Keith Yackey. Keith Yackey is, he's just a loosey-goosey, happy-go-lucky, ridiculously successful guy that understands vision, that understands messaging, that understands what men and women need in relationship. He is an incredibly successful podcaster. He hosts The Married Game, which the entire goal of his podcast is to get men's and women to want each other again. But he comes at it specifically from the dude side of it. Bros, if your wife's not wanting to have sex with you, if the passion has died, here's how you can change it. That's his whole deal. He's been following that calling that has been inside of him for coming up on 2 years now, and it has been a resounding success in the market. And as a part of that, he felt inspired to start what's called the Ascend Brotherhood. I was invited to Laguna Beach to be a part of one of these weekends. And what was different about this weekend, as opposed to any other mastermind or coaching environment that I've ever been in, is that the focus and intention of the weekend was joy. We weren't going to talk about our marketing funnels. We weren't going to compare spreadsheets and revenue to try to maximize our KPIs. We were all successful that were already there. Everybody that was there didn't have struggles when it came to money or business. They already knew what to do. Where they were lacking wasn't in discipline, it was in joy. Their joy levels were off, to use Keith's words. So I show up at this weekend knowing that as somebody that pursues stand-up comedy and really gets a kick out of telling dick jokes to strangers in a dark room, I was reluctant. I didn't know how this was going to go off, because here's the thing. I know how to be successful in business. I'm disciplined in the things that I need to be disciplined at. There's a lot that I have to learn, of course, and there's a lot of things that I'm excited to bring upon myself as far as benchmarks and successes to have. But I'm in that zone. I understand that energy of making money and moving forward and growing a business. I didn't need any of that. But my personality hasn't meshed well with those rooms a lot of time. I've been a part of masterminds and coaching groups and men's coaching groups. And every time I've shown up as somebody that wants to have a laugh and be joking and kind of lighten the mood, it's accepted for a moment, but then it's like, hold off, Bryce. We gotta get back down to business. We gotta chill out for a little bit. It was always minimized, which is fine. Okay. You don't want to be slinging jokes and being silly during your marketing funnel sales pitch. I get it. But it made it so that I felt there was something wrong with me, that I wasn't, I didn't fit in those groups. I get to this place with this new brotherhood, the Ascend brotherhood. I didn't feel any of that. I was encouraged to be that. I was encouraged to lean into joy. I was encouraged to use humor and laughter as a way to connect with my brothers. I was encouraged to just be my full, authentic self. You see, as I've said already, men need each other, and we need each other more than ever. And one of the beautiful things about what I was reminded of this last weekend is that there's a whole lot of things that we are taught about manhood that we are made to think are flaws. But in reality, they are features of being a man. My desire to take care of my family and to go kill the metaphorical buffalo is a feature of being a man, not a flaw. I'm not in competition with women in my desire to do that for my family. It's just a feature. As a man, this is what I want to do. I want to care, I want to provide, I want to preside, and I want to lead. But we have been taught that these are flaws, that we're supposed to tone it down and be equal and allow women to have the same spaces that we have. And those are two different conversations. That's apples and oranges. It's not the same thing. My sex drive, my desire to procreate and to have a vibrant, passionate sexual relationship with my spouse is a feature of being a powerful man, not a flaw. There is nothing wrong with wanting that. A lot of people don't understand, especially men. They don't understand that the energy of ambition and the energy of sexual attraction are very close together. They run very parallel one to another. And that's why you see successful men dive into debaucherous behaviors like strip clubs and hookers and that sexual energy that they have because they're out making all that money and building all those businesses has to go somewhere. But because they've neglected the communication required in their marriages and their relationships to say, yo, babe, like, we got to hammer this out, you know what I mean? It gets thwarted and changed and turned into something negative. My desire to take care of my family is a feature of being a powerful man, not a flaw. I do not look at my person as somebody weaker than me because I want to take care of them. And again, that is a feature, not a flaw, of being a powerful man. This weekend, I was reminded of all of the things that I had been questioning about who I am and what I am. Those are features that I get to embrace as a part of my badassery and not some sort of place where I'm broken. And the same applies to you. You're not broken, dude. You just haven't been living as a man should live. You haven't been caring for your family the way that they need. You haven't been killing the buffalo, metaphorically speaking, going and making money and building business and doing the things that give you means and resource so that you can do more of the things that make you a powerful man. You've been playing small, and I get it. Because one of the lessons I've learned is that in order for me to be the most powerful man, I need my brothers. I need my tribe. My tribe, not your tribe, my tribe. The tribe that fits me. The tribe that fits you. You need that. There's a simple concept that says exposure is the gateway to expansion. I didn't know a lot of these things until I was exposed to them. And now that I see them, and I experience them, and I feel them, I recognize the expansion. And I'm feeling on fire, I gotta be real. I'm feeling a pull in a way to speak more about this for my brothers and for the women that support my brothers. I know it might sound cheesy, this whole brotherhood shit, like, oh, really? Brotherhood? Like, but it's real, dude. My man, how many really, really good friends can you count on one hand? How many people in your circle know all your secrets? I'm willing to bet none, or very few. That's a problem. That shows up in addiction. It shows up in playing small. When you're not able to release that in a safe place, it slowly kills you. And sometimes, unfortunately, some men let it kill them by taking their own life. There was two major breakthroughs that I had over this weekend, and I'll share both of them with you because I want you to connect with me on this as you're watching this. The first one is about the nature of man. I've been a competitive athlete for most of my adult life. Even as a child, I played sports. I always wanted to win. I always wanted to win. Whether it was video games or basketball or skiing or whatever my pursuit was, I wanted to be the best at it. Comedy, I want to be the best. And not some sort of like the best, but everybody's the best. I wanted to beat you. I wanted to be top of the leaderboard. And over the last 10 years, I'm going to openly admit I lost that. I had decided to turn that dial down inside of my psyche about who and what I am. Being competitive, thinking that competition was an unnecessary emotion, thinking that the desire to be better than somebody else was wrong, that it was a flaw and not a feature of who I am. As a part of this weekend, since joy was the focus, we competed with each other. We had competitions at the beach playing spike ball. We did relay races. We had a running race up a hill. We raced go-karts against each other. We put ourselves in environments where we had to compete. And you know what it did? It got everybody fired up. It stoked in me that passion to be the best again. And not just my best, but the best. Unequivocal. There was a moment where after we were done at the beach at this one part of the Sunday morning when we were there, we were going to run from the beach. It was about a 1.5 mile run up a hill and go to Keith's home where he had a cold plunge that we were going to do. We were going to do 5 minutes in the cold. And the commitment when we started running at the beach was that you can't stop running. And we were all committed to not stop running. When we got to the first peak, just right out the beach, for the first time in years, I heard that animal voice in my head say, "Don't let anyone beat you." And I took off. I don't run, dude. I can sprint all day long. I'm in great shape. But I'll be honest, man, I'm not a fan of running. Running is not fun. But I wasn't going to let any of these other guys beat me. And I took off up that hill, and I made it convincing. I wanted there to be zero possibility or question that I won. And I did. I beat everybody by about 2 minutes up that hill, not stopping. Chugga, 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 chugga. And I felt it. I felt the fire. And I felt it on the tail end of getting my ass handed to me on some other games that we had been playing, where I had been losing. I was not the best. I felt the fire. I wanted more for myself. I hadn't had an experience like that. I don't know when the last time I had an experience like that was. I wanted to win. And I'm seeing now that being competitive as a male is a good thing. It's a feature of your greatness. Use that to drive yourself to higher levels of success, to get in more shape, to make more money, to be a better person, a better father, a better husband, to be the best. Yes, be your best, but be the best as well. Or at least be striving for that and being real about you wanting that. It's fine. There's no shame in wanting to be the best and then taking the action and the work required to do it. For a long time, I thought it was trite. I thought it was shallow. I thought that we were elevating things that weren't important. But they are important. Competition for a man, if you haven't felt the fire of competition in a while, you need to. It will change your perspective and your mindset. You see, one of the inherent characteristics of competition is comparison. You compare your result to their result. And if your result is less than their result, you can see what they did to become better. And you can catch things by how they show up to be better. See, there's a process of growth that comes when you put yourself in a position to lose. And there's a ton of things that you can compete with. You can compete in money, you can compete in health, relationship, cars, whatever. It's all there. And I'm encouraging you right now to put yourself in a position of competition. The last thing that I wanted to talk about as well was the need that we have as individuals to search our soul and to ask ourselves, what do we actually want? What do you want out of your life, specifically? If you were to wake up on the perfect day, what would that day look like? Who would you be surrounded with? What would your activities be? Where would you be? What car would you drive? What would your home look like? Where would you be located? The perfect day. And sometimes, in order to understand what we want, we have to ask ourselves while we search our soul for what we want. And here's the lesson that I learned, is that if you are searching your soul, the answers that come are the right answers. You don't have to second guess them. They might be difficult or include a lot of rearranging of your life for you to be able to follow those answers. But if you are searching your soul in earnest, the answers that come are the right answers. So take that for what it is. You don't have to fit into someone else's mold. You know, Keith used an example in one of the conversations that we had where he shared this experience where he was feeling a certain amount of resentment for another person. And he thought to himself, I shouldn't be feeling this. Successful men that are in this space don't feel like this. And he went to somebody that was a sound advisor for him, a coach. And he's sharing these feelings of confusion on why he's feeling this. Because he says, I shouldn't be feeling this way. Like, people like me don't feel this. And the coach posed back to him the question, like, well, are you feeling this? Yes. Aren't you a successful entrepreneur and XYZ? Well, yes. Well, it looks like they feel that way then. We don't have to convince ourselves we shouldn't feel something. If you feel it, feel it. If you're feeling inspired to act upon it, act upon it. There's a book called The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani. And he talks about, in this book, a concept known as brules. B-R-U-L-E-S, brule. And it's a combined word meaning bullshit rules. How many bullshit rules do you live by that hold you back from brotherhood, from connection, from growth, from competition? Because somebody somewhere in your life told you that's not what you're supposed to do. And so even though you're feeling a drive and a desire in your heart that is different than what you think you should, you will minimize it because, oh, that person told me I shouldn't feel that way. Well, guess what? You do feel that way. So follow it. Figure it out. Stop the bullshit rules. Live your life. When you are searching your soul, the answers that come are always the right ones. Now, my friends, as we round the corner into 2023, I want you to push down both sides of this New Year's resolution argument. There's one side that wants to talk shit on you for wanting to make a new year, new year. And they're going to say, you're never going to change. You didn't change last year. You're not going to change now. You don't need the new year, blah, blah, blah. And it's minimizing and it's fucking bullshit. You don't need to buy into that. If you are feeling the pull to change yourself this year, follow it. And also, if you're not, you don't have to either. You don't need the excuse of a number on a calendar changing to finally make some drastic adjustments to your living and your quality of life and how you show up for yourself. I want to encourage you to do that. If you're watching this and there's been anything that I've said that resonates with you, or you felt a lack in your life, yeah, I don't have a brotherhood. I don't have people to turn to. Fucking change it. It's possible. You don't have to stay where you're at, staying stuck, feeling alone. For the sake of what? You're being a simp if you do that, so don't simp out. You're bitching out if you do that. And you're not a bitch. You're a man that has powerful features associated with who you are in the nature of being a man. I want that for you. I got a taste this weekend of finally, at 47 years old, feeling seen and heard and appreciated in a way that I'd never had from a group of friends. And it changed my life for the better. And all it was is a bunch of guys that got together, wanting joy, being willing to be open and transparent about what's really going on in their life. I want that for you. So go get it. My friends, wrapping up this year, I thank you for all the support you've given to the podcast. I thank you for every time you've shared. I thank you for every rating and review that I've received. I thank you for everybody that's come up to me in public and said they've either enjoyed my comedy or they like the podcast or there's been something that I've shared that moved the needle for them. Those things warm my heart. It's not an easy thing to put out the content that we do and to create what we do. So anytime you feel moved by it or that it was valuable to you, letting us know is a huge deal. So thank you for that. And I would encourage that to continue. If there's something that we do or create here with stand-up or with me and my comedy or any of the other stuff I do, please let us know. It's important. Like truly, I'm petitioning you as somebody that cares about making better stuff. If we're doing it right, let us know. Happy New Year, my friends. That's all I got today. This is Stand Up.